Welcome to the 2025 Year in Review. I am your host, Kishma Serie. Tonight we take you on a journey through the year, from January to December, revisiting the stories, achievements, and milestones that shaped St. Lucia over the past 12 months. From bold strides in tourism and agriculture to vibrant cultural festivals and inspiring community initiatives, government-led programs helped drive the progress, resilience, and innovation that defied 2025. Join us for a reflection on those moments, the people and the milestones that shaped our nation's story for this year. These are the highlights of some of the policies and the programs that made 2025 truly remarkable. The new year began with renewed focus on community, safety, and development. In January, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force expanded its outreach with the introduction of a police mobile station, improving connections between officers and citizens. The Royal St. Lucia Police Force has expanded its services by way of a mobile police station. The unit was originally designed to be a command center for the fire service, but discussions between the Commissioner of Police and the Chief Fire Officer saw a repurposing of the unit. With the unit now having a two-shift system in place, the inspector in charge of the Community Relations Branch, Bridget Algodel, explained what the mobile unit would cover and what reports could be made.
No report will be turned down. So a report that traditionally would be dealt with by CID is made at the mobile unit. The preliminaries will be done and the necessary referrals will be done to the appropriate departments.
With the ability to deploy personnel and resources, the mobile station is intended to be a staple at mass crowd activities such as jazz and carnival to ensure residents and visitors feel safe. The presence of the unit will also take on the additional role of deterring criminal elements. The hope of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force is to have more mobile units in the foreseeable future for various locations on the island. At the opening of the year, the renovation of the Soufrière jetty began in earnest. The jetty was severely damaged as a result of Hurricane Beryl in 2024. Genevieve Gonzague has the details.
The St. Lucia Cruise Port, SLCP, in collaboration with the Soufrière Regional Development Foundation, SRDF, has announced the partial reopening of the main dock on the Soufrière waterfront. The renovation works commenced on November 20th, 2024, following significant damage to the facility due to Hurricane Beryl earlier this year. According to the Member of Parliament for Soufrière-Font-Saint-Jacques, Honorable Emma Hippolyte, the project represents a shared commitment to revitalizing Soufrière's waterfront and the main port of entry.
We saw very clearly that the area that had the stone barriers were less impacted by the water. So again, we placed that on the table to say, Ministry of Infrastructure, could you get and do some analysis to tell us whether we needed to continue this breakwater barrier further down?
The revitalization of the main Soufrière jetty is a collaborative project among various agencies, including the St. Lucia Cruise Port, the Soufrière Regional Development Foundation, the St. Lucia Air and Seaports Authority, and the Government of St. Lucia.
Another highlight of January was the annual Nobel laureate observance, where the island paid tribute to the legacy of the Nobel laureates, Sir Arthur Lewis and Sir Derek Walcott. The chair of the Nobel Laureate Committee, Her Excellency Dame Paulette Louise, discussed the inspiration and national pride that created such a festival and its evolution.
What began as a Nobel Laureate Day in January 1993 to celebrate our second Nobel Prize on the birthday of both our Nobel laureates has grown into Nobel Laureate Week and now Nobel Laureate Festival. Indeed, there is more than enough reason to celebrate.
On the heels of the Nobel Laureate observance, St. Lucia celebrated the 46th anniversary of independence, showcasing innovation and national pride as citizens came together to honor our heritage, achievements, and the collective vision for the future.
On February 22nd, 1979, we raised our flag and began our journey to independence. And this journey of independence has enabled us to endeavor to shape our policies, develop our economy, and advocate our national interests on the world stage. We have freely engaged in regional and international cooperation, strengthened our democratic institutions, while preserving our unique St. Lucian identity. Independence gives us the power to decide our path and the solemn responsibility to promote fairness, justice, and opportunity for all. We believe that every citizen must have the right to education, health care, employment, and the right of association, and to live in an environment of peace and security. This year's theme, Forward Together, Health and Well-being for a Prosperous Nation, is a call to action for all of us. It's a reminder that true prosperity is not measured only by economic gains, but by the well-being of a nation.
And looking ahead to the future, the island saw a major leap in the modernization of a key government service with the launch of the e-land registry system, improving efficiency, transparency, and worldwide access to land services. Glenn Simon has that story.
Efficient land administration ensures transparency, reduces disputes, and attracts investment, key factors in national growth and resilience. Recognizing the need for modernization, the Department of Public Service through the Caribbean Digital Transformation Project, CARDIP, has partnered with the Department of Physical Development to implement an e-land registry system for St. Lucia. Registrar of Lands Savita Chandler highlighted that one of the key advantages of an e-land registry system is the ability to access land registry services from anywhere in the world. This increased access will significantly enhance the efficiency and productivity of the Department of Physical Development. She also underscored the critical role of the land registry in the lives of everyday St. Lucians, emphasizing its impact on property ownership, security of tenure, and economic opportunities.
Land registry, I think, is the roots, is the key for almost any transaction. People come in for simple things, for connection, for Lucia Lake and water, mortgages. You can't transact without access to the land registries. I think it's super important and integral to many different business services on island.
The government of St. Lucia remains committed to leveraging digital innovation to enhance public service delivery and drive sustainable economic development.
The spotlight shifted to key efforts to stimulate economic growth while advancing national security priorities. The government reported steady progress on the construction of the Northern Divisional Police Headquarters. Government confirmed that the state-of-the-art facility remains on schedule for completion.
I would say that we are about 95% of the construction of the administrative section. All right, when it comes to the accommodations building, we are nearly 85%. So within the administrative building, we have the SSU, we have full administration, superintendents, the sergeants, meeting rooms. So everything to do with the administration section of the place that you would need, you could find it in that building.
Meanwhile, Parliament's first sitting for 2025 approved key legislative changes, including amendments to the Security Interest in Movable Property Act, simplifying operations for small businesses.
Government is continuing to focus attention on building resilience in the small business sector. In the latest initiative to support the sector, the lower house passed the Security Interest in Movable Property Amendment at its first sitting of the year on February 25, 2025. The bill will expand provisions in the legislation to make business operation easier. The amendment was presented by the Minister of Finance, Prime Minister Philip Pierre, who said it would provide greater flexibility and security for businesses looking to leverage movable assets.
As such, the Act allows medium and micro businesses to use movable property, such as appliances and equipment and vehicles as security. So what this amendment seeks to do, Mr. Speaker, is it seeks to allow a waiver of stamp duty on assets, on movable assets, Mr. Speaker, so that small businesses can be further supported to borrow or to expand.
A major highlight in March was the opening of the anchorage on the waterfront, expanding business opportunities and elevating the visitor experience in Castries. Nivalogis reports.
Anchorage on the waterfront, the new hub, formerly known as the Castries Market Box Park, is set to redefine the consumer experience while fostering economic growth within the city. Minister for Tourism, Investment, Creative Industries, Culture and Information, Honorable Dr. Ernest Hilaire, also underscored the project's importance, emphasizing its potential to drive economic transformation.
This facility is designed to allow St. Lucians to own and to be able to earn a livelihood from the tourism sector, as well, of course, as St. Lucians themselves patronizing it. It is a tourism-oriented project.
When we come back, we have more highlights from the second quarter of 2025's Year in Review. Please stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching the 2025 Year in Review, a recap of the stories, achievements, and milestones that shaped St. Lucia over the past 12 months. April highlighted progress in community and tourism development. The formal opening of the Laborie Farmers Market marked a new chapter of growth and opportunity for the southern community.
First envisioned in 2013, the opening of the Laborie Market marks a major milestone for the community, providing a modern facility where vendors and residents can conduct business, support local entrepreneurship, and contribute to the growth of the village's economy. Chief architect to the project, Bas Joseph, shared insight into the design concept, noting that the market was built with sustainability and functionality in mind, while paying homage to Laborie's rich cultural heritage.
The design concept of the project takes into consideration the original name of Laborie, Quartier de Ile de Carré, after the lodgerhead sea turtle that was found within this area historically. It also takes into consideration the people, the music, the art, the culture, and the architecture which defines the urban space. The two extremes of the buildings are representative of what would you call the hulls of the catamaran, while the center of the building is the intersection of the shell of the lodgeback turtle, and the balcony or the patio to the front is a representation of the right wing of the turtle, while the balcony to the back represents the last third of the turtle.
A major milestone in cruise tourism was achieved as Global Port Holding, in partnership with the government of St. Lucia and SLASPA, broke ground on the long-awaited redevelopment of Port Castries.
Port Castries and the Castries waterfront are earmarked for transformational redevelopment, which includes expanded berthing facilities to accommodate Oasis-class cruise ships, new duty-free and vending facilities, and the redevelopment of Banans Bay. The Soufrière waterfront, although not included in GPH's original development plans, is now affixed in the final agreement, thanks to strong lobbying efforts by the Minister for Commerce, who is also the Member of Parliament for Soufrière for Saint-Jacques, the Honorable Emma Hippolyte. Once completed, the project would invite greater participation in the tourism sector by more St. Lucians and also create new business opportunities for St. Lucia's tourism industry stakeholders.
And in a related development, the Ministry of Tourism unveiled the View at the Morn, a scenic visitor stop at Morn Fortune overlooking the Castries Harbour.
Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre took deliberate action to restore the Mon Laborie to its former glory and revitalize commercial activity in the space. In March 2024, Prime Minister Pierre secured a $6.3 million concessionary funding arrangement with the CARICOM Development Fund, or CDF, to enhance community-driven tourism projects that highlight our island's unique selling propositions. The view at the Mon is an architectural triumph that offers a fresh perspective from the most famous lookout point in the capital. Shelter, comfort stations, secured storage spaces, and a range of mixed-use potential have been unlocked at the view at the Mon.
Every May, St. Lucia turns up the volume for the St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival, a week of entertainment hosting top local artists and megastars from the region and the world. The Minister for Tourism reviewed the festival, assessed its impact, and made recommendations for future festivals. The curtains came down on the St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival on Sunday, May 11th, marking the grand finale of 3 weeks of electrifying performances and artistic flair. The island pulsed with energy as both international stars and homegrown talent took to the stage, drawing enthusiastic crowds to venues across the country. Ahead of the official review, the Minister for Tourism, Honorable Dr. Ernest Hilaire, offered an initial assessment of the festival during a pre-cabinet press briefing, sharing his insights into what he described as a vibrant and successful showcase.
The performances were fantastic. The attendance was unbelievable. I think for every event, including the arts event, the turnout was really, really good. And St. Lucia is trending. We're trending in tourism and investment. There is deep interest in St. Lucia.
To attract new investments, the government and the private sector met to discuss growth opportunities in the business process outsourcing sector. Melissa Paul has more.
The government of St. Lucia, in partnership with the private sector investors, has prioritized the development of the business process outsourcing sector, or the BPO sector, as a vital component of its economic strategy. With a focus on creating meaningful employment opportunities for young people, one notable project is the establishment of a new BPO facility in Otabon. This expansion aligns with the government's broader plan to promote constituency development, reduce unemployment, and diversify the economy beyond traditional sectors like tourism and agriculture. The Otabon BPO is expected to generate up to 1,000 new jobs, providing significant employment opportunities to residents and fueling economic activity in the constituency of ancillary canneries.
In a move to enhance national security, the government officially opened the newly constructed Centralized Community Safety Center. May 23, 2020 witnessed the demolition of custody suites in Castries. The facility had previously been used to detain suspects. Therefore, its demolition placed tremendous strain on the resources of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. On May 23, 2025, exactly 5 years later, the government of St. Lucia officially reopened the former custody suites, now renamed the Centralized Community Safety Center. The facility has detention sections, 3 interrogation rooms, 4 offices, 2 dormitories, 1 carport, an armory, an ID parade area, 8 holding cells, prisoner intake rooms, and accessibility for those with disabilities. In June, consumers welcomed retail price reductions of at least 12.5% on dozens of food items, along with the removal of a 6% service charge on price-controlled foods. Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre explained how these changes would be applied.
Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip J. Pierre, has endeavored to explain in detail how the removal of the 12.5% import levy of value-added tax will result in reductions in the cost of selected food items. The government of St. Lucia hopes that the year-long reprieve will cushion the effect of global inflation on local customers.
St. Lucia imports $568 million worth of food. We are price takers. We do not control the cost of food that comes in St. Lucia. What we can do is we have jurisdiction on the price. How does that work? There are 3 charges on food that is imported into the country: import duty, VAT, and service charge.
The government of St. Lucia intends to exercise its jurisdiction over these food import charges by removing value-added taxes on up to 70 everyday food items, with 45 standard-rated food items expected to show an automatic 12.5% reduction in prices following the application of new legislation that is expected to be passed in July. Previously, on June 1st, a 6% service charge was removed on 24 price-controlled food items.
Long-time residents of government lands move closer to ownership as the government empowered families to secure a piece of St. Lucia. Virgil Leonti reports.
St. Lucian families who have occupied government lands for 30 years or more will soon become owners of these lands. For the first time, the government will transfer ownership of the properties to these individuals. This new initiative involves more than 800 families in several areas of Vieux Fort. The details were disclosed by Housing Minister Honorable Richard Frederick at a brief sitting of Parliament on Tuesday.
The government already has over 800 lots surveyed, and in the next 2 weeks or so, over 800. In the next 2 weeks or so, Mr. Speaker, persons from Opicor, persons from POM, persons from OG, and persons from cantonment will be given letters identifying the block and parcel number and the area of occupation, pursuant to which the deeds will be facilitated, and those deeds will be deeds of donation from the government of St. Lucia to the relevant occupants of the property.
The minister went on to clarify that there is no automatic ownership for citizens who occupy government lands for 30 years or more. He explained that the law currently applies only to occupants of private lands. The transfer of land titles will also include families who have resided on properties for less than 30 years.
Meanwhile, residents of Bas Joseph, a community in the Castries South constituency, celebrated the opening of a long-awaited state-of-the-art human resource center.
Residents of Bas Joseph and the surrounding communities gathered to witness a historic milestone on June 20th as the keys to the newly constructed Bas Joseph Human Resource Development Center were officially handed over in a symbolic ceremony. The multifunctional facility, the first of its kind in the community, is designed to serve as a hub for lifelong learning, youth development, and community engagement. Equipped with computers, study areas, and a flexible layout, the center provides dedicated spaces for academic support and technology access, while also offering a venue for public meetings, cultural events, and social activities. Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre, who was present at the event, commended the collaboration between ministries and the community in delivering this transformative space. He noted that initiatives like the Bas Joseph Center are essential to building resilient communities and fostering national development from the grassroots up.
A major event in June was a historic visit of the President of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The official program included a formal state welcome and efforts to strengthen Caribbean-Africa diplomatic ties. St. Lucia hosted Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu from June 28th to July 4th for a landmark visit aimed at strengthening diplomatic, cultural and economic relations between Nigeria and St. Lucia, as well as the wider organization of Eastern Caribbean states.
St. Lucia had the honor of hosting the heads of government of the OECS for a high-level meeting with the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This was not just a ceremonial visit. It was a productive working session that led to clear practical outcomes. It also marked a significant step forward in strengthening South-South cooperation between Africa and the Caribbean, two regions with shared histories and aligned development goals. President Tinubu made several direct offers to the region: full tuition scholarships for OECS students to pursue higher education in Nigeria, deployment of Nigerian professionals across sectors such as health, education, and engineering for the Nigerian Technical Aid Corps, visa waivers for OECS nationals with diplomatic and official passports with encouragement for reciprocal arrangements, formal diplomatic relations between Nigeria and St. Lucia with other OECS member states expected to follow.
The joint diplomatic mission between Nigeria and St. Lucia is also under discussion. The Prime Minister further expounded on opportunities for collaboration between OECS and Nigeria.
A proposal to establish a Nigeria-OECS Joint Commission to guide and expand this new partnership. Collaboration in education, maritime training, scientific research, and climate adaptation. In response, the OECS heads welcomed Nigeria's proposals and highlighted areas of particular interest. Reviving the Nigeria-OECS medical partnership to bring competent doctors and nurses to the region. Expanding youth exchanges, including training in robotics, software, and innovation. Deepening culture and creative sector collaboration with a focus on export-ready Afro-Caribbean goods. Improving air and maritime connectivity, including renewed discussions on the Black Star Line concept and direct air links via Nigerian carriers. Targeted tourism marketing to Nigeria's growing middle class. Joint trade and investment promotion, including business forums and matchmaking between OECS entrepreneurs and Nigerian investors.
Still to come, a VAT memorandum and tuition support for nursing students kicks off the third quarter of 2025. We will be right back after the break.
This is an iguana. This is our white-breasted thrasher. Just two of our friendly neighbors that share these 238 square miles. These unique citizens are also protected by law. If broken, penalties can reach a maximum fine of $5,000 or up to 1 year in jail. Along the Ayanola region, St. Lucia's northeast coast, lives some unique and rare wildlife, some found nowhere else on the planet. This is an iguana. They are ours to protect. This announcement is brought to you with the compliments of the Ayanola Project.
Welcome back. You're watching the 2025 Year in Review, a recap of the stories, achievements, and milestones that shaped St. Lucia over the past 12 months. In the third quarter of 2025, the month of July highlighted international relations, citizen support, and enhanced public services. The government extended the moratorium on VAT for building materials to May of 2026, a timely intervention at the opening of the Atlantic hurricane season.
The retailers and suppliers of these items expressed strong support for the initiative. For example, dress-treated lumber measuring 2 by 10 by 20 was reduced from $155 to $145, a $10 savings on that particular post. On steel, Mr. Speaker, half-inch steel, the item was reduced from $19.64 to $17.25. These reductions, Mr. Speaker, were welcome and appreciated by not only the contractors, but also by the people doing their little basic home repairs. We've seen it everywhere.
The government reports that the initiative costs $5.38 million in foregone revenue, but officials say the social returns far outweigh the cost.
The Joint Ministerial Task Force monitoring U.S. trade policy announced strategies to safeguard the fallout from increased import prices on food, in particular, and citizen safety and well-being was also prioritized with the strengthening of emergency response with the addition of 2 new fire trucks to improve firefighting response. The government of St. Lucia has handed over 2 fire trucks to the St. Lucia Fire Service to enhance the services provided by the George F. L. Charles Airport and the Viewport Fire Station. A sum of $3.6 million was jointly funded by the Caribbean Development Bank, or CDB, and the government of St. Lucia to enhance the resilience of the fire service project. The Chief Fire Officer, Mr. Ditney Downs, highlighted the advanced features of the new fire trucks, noting that the upgraded equipment is a significant step toward improving the department's efficiency and emergency response capabilities.
Today marks a profound and significant milestone in our department's journey towards enhanced emergency response, and community protection. The arrival of these 2 new fire trucks is not just a logistical upgrade, it's a powerful symbol of the government's and the fire department's shared commitment to safeguarding life, property, and the future of our communities.
Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister, with the responsibility for Home Affairs, Crime Prevention, and Persons with Disabilities, Honorable Jeremiah Nobel, emphasized the significance of the vehicles and reaffirmed the government's commitment to supporting emergency services across the island.
But the truth is, what we've done for the St. Lucia Fire Service from the time that we came into this government is unprecedented. We said what we've done in 4 years cannot be matched by what has been done for the past 30 years. And this speaks volumes about our commitment to seeing the fire service improve and seeing the fire service go into the right direction.
The official handover ceremony was held on Thursday, July 17, 2025, at the Caribbean Cinemas car park. And the biggest party in the Caribbean, the St. Lucia Carnival, proves it hits the sweet spot every time. 2025 saw Desral making history, capturing the Calypso Monarch, the Power Soca Monarch, and Road March, made him the biggest winner of the season. We have the highlights of Carnival 2025.
Wrong kid, how you been? Bloody day, don't worry. There's always 2 sides to the story. Tell me if it's right. Have your food, but mine you want to use for light. Who that be calling you in the middle of the night? Before I say something, you think it's fight I want to fight. Yeah. You feel like I'm a fool, cause I take it cool. You feel like I'm a joke, take care you and get a stroke when you go to court. So listen baby, to my way, to play the game. So if I cheat, I ain't doing it for fame.
July was a showcase of government's continued commitment to citizens, international collaboration, and a parade of exceptional talent. August highlighted culture, community, and infrastructural development. The 2025 Emancipation celebrations promoted a deeper understanding of the significance of the observance and the government's commitment to remembering our history, preserving national heritage, and fostering unity and social progress across the island. On August 1, 2025, Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Honorable Philip J. Pierre, delivered his Emancipation Day address, and he praised the accomplishments made in the 181 years since slavery was abolished. But he highlighted that its psychological and cultural effects continue. He emphasized that the vestiges of this history continue to impede the nation's unity and progress.
This Shoba has been carried across generations, and while its impact has been declining, its remnants continue to impede the progress of some of our people. The legacy of slavery is still able to divide us, despite the common indignity suffered by our ancestors. And yes, there remains sadly a few amongst us who have yet to understand and appreciate the need to uplift our people from self-doubt and the harmful effects of the values of our colonial masters. As we honor the sacred memory of ancestors and the unbreakable spirit of those who rose from bondage to claim their freedom, we are not only looking back, we are reaching forward.
Prime Minister Pierre emphasized the importance of togetherness, urging St. Lucians to reflect on their shared heritage and to work together for national prosperity. The Ministry of Tourism continued the agenda to improve tourism amenities in St. Lucia. Among the projects were the Millennium Highway Lookout Point, an underwater park, a beach park at Redwe, and the renovated Jeremy Street Plaza.
So you will see around St. Lucia a number of projects being undertaken by this government because we want our people to have better facilities. So on Millennium Highway, we're building a new lookout. On the Mon lay-by has been redone, and I'm sure at nights you could look and see the different lights as it changes. You will see on the beaches of St. Lucia, we've just started a new beach park right there at Redwe Beach. On the ramp, we are about to build toilets on the ramp and a new vending space. So again, St. Lucians who go to the beach on Registry Beach and they want to use our restroom, they can go into a public facility to use it.
The government received over $5.7 million in funding from the CARICOM Development Fund to support major water infrastructure upgrades.
WASCO has identified at least 3 critical projects geared towards the improvement of the island's infrastructure, particularly in the north. In response to long-standing challenges stemming from aging infrastructure at the Thibbles Water Treatment Plant, WASCO will begin extensive rehabilitation efforts in the coming months, thanks to a U.S. $4.2 million loan from the CARICOM Development Fund, CDF, secured with the support of the Government of St. Lucia through the Ministry of Finance. Speaking at the official signing ceremony, WASCO's CEO, Zilta George Leslie, explained the rationale for securing the loan to upgrade the aged filters at the Thibbles Water Treatment Plant. This outdated system now requires excessive water for backwashing, significantly reducing the volume available for consumer distribution and straining the utility's ability to meet growing demand.
The system's declining performance is compounded, of course, by climate change, as Mr. Suma spoke of earlier, with extreme rainfall producing more turbid water and droughts limiting our raw water availability. As a result, the Thibbles treatment plant is functioning at roughly 40% efficiency, and of course it cannot meet the growing demand in the rapidly developing service areas, making restoration to full capacity critical.
The addition of a U.S. $670,000 technical assistance grant will result in the installation of energy-efficient equipment at the treatment plant, the provision of direct support for vulnerable communities through training, the establishment of rainwater harvesting systems, and enhanced water security.
Expanding the social safety net to provide relief to households remain a priority for the government. A 3.9% increase to pensioners of the NIC and plans for unemployment insurance was part of the government's agenda in 2025. August truly underscored the government's focus on social protection, national heritage, and major infrastructure improvements.
As at 1st July 2025, all NIC pensioners, including those who received an increase in the minimum pension last year, received a 3.9% increase in their pensions starting from July the 1st, 2025. And that increase is based on the average consumer price index. And government will continue to work with the NIC to ensure that all social protection benefits are adequate and sustainable.
Before 2021, many NIC pensioners collected less than $500 monthly. In August 2022, NIC pensioners received a 4.2% increase in monthly pension payments. In August of 2024, the NIC increased minimum pension payouts from $300 to $500 monthly. And this latest increase in July 2025 will add an additional 3.9% to monthly pension payouts for NIC pensioners. Prime Minister Pierre has reaffirmed the government's commitment to dignity for the elderly and underscored that the people-centric policies of his government under the mantra "putting people first" are rooted in a philosophical belief in social justice and wealth creation.
In September, the spotlight fell on investment in youth, culture, and education. Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre launched a $350,000 Creative Economy Grant Fund program to support artists and creative entrepreneurs. The Ministry of Youth Development and Sports received a $2.7 million grant from the Republic of China, Taiwan, to support youth empowerment and sports development across the island.
And we are not ashamed, we make no bones about it, that we are spending money on the young people of St. Lucia.
Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre and his cabinet of ministers continue to pursue opportunities domestically and abroad that align with his administration's guiding principle of putting people first and moving St. Lucia forward. The Republic of China on Taiwan has fully embraced this philosophy and continues to support government proposals that develop our human capital, build resilience, and support community development. On August 25th, 2025, resident Taiwan Ambassador to St. Lucia, Her Excellency Nicole Su, presented a check in the sum of $2.718 million in grant funding to Prime Minister Pierre to initiate strategic development goals.
I'm deeply impressed by the curiosity, the energy, the innovation, and the creativity displayed by the young people here. And through these events, I learned to understand the importance of providing proper tools and opportunities for the people to develop themselves and to explore their potentials. This is why I'd like to thank you for inviting Taiwan to partner with you for your efforts to facilitate opportunities for the people through the 3 projects today.
Meanwhile, increased investments in education are helping move the country toward a stronger future, strengthening classrooms and the support systems around them.
We continue to place education at the very center of our agenda, ensuring that every learner from early childhood to adult education has the opportunity to succeed. We are once again providing every Form 1 student with a brand new laptop computer. We have provided every Form 1 student with a $500 bursary. We are paying facility fees for every student in the public primary and secondary schools. We have paid the increased TMA, teaching material allowance, of $1,400 to teachers as a complement to their August salaries.
The country's youngest learners will also benefit. Private preschools will receive a $500 increase in their annual grants, while the tuition subsidy for each preschooler per term increased from $50 to $100.
Also in September, Serenity Park reopened with major upgrades, including an amphitheater for community events.
The government of St. Lucia recently hosted the official relaunch of Serenity Park following extensive renovations. The newly refurbished space now features an amphitheater and other upgraded amenities. Solange Belizier, Deputy Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Housing and Local Government, said the upgrades have transformed the park into a hub for creativity and community.
Serenity Park has long been a sanctuary of tranquility, learning, and a wonderful venue for expression of creativity and community gatherings. Now, with the addition of this amphitheater, a covered stage, and dedicated performance space, we are elevating the park's role in the cultural heartbeat of our community.
Still to come, more funding for the youth economy and squatters to get their own piece of St. Lucia. Stay with us.
Be your brother's keeper. Make the change. End the gun violence now.
A message from the Ministry of Equity, Social Justice and Empowerment.
Welcome back. You're watching the 2025 Year in Review, and I am your host, Kishma Seri. In the final quarter of the year, October trained the lens on government progress in youth development, community empowerment, and growth in the creative sector. 30 residents of Odsa in the Castries Southeast constituency are now closer to owning the Crownlands where they made their home, a significant step toward long-term land security for families in the area. The Minister for Equity, Honorable Joachim Henry, has announced that several persons from the Castries Southeast constituency will be receiving documentation for land ownership for properties that they have been occupying for decades. This follows an announcement from the Prime Minister on creating avenues for persons occupying Crown lands to own these land at lower market costs.
I am pleased to report this morning that 40 persons in Odsa will be receiving a letter to own the property where they are on Crownlands because they have been there for 40 years and more. In addition to this, last week we prepared letters to approximately 80 persons so far, both in Bel Air and in Odsa, would be owning land at just $2.50 per square foot. Lands ranging between 5,000 and in some instances up to 10,000 square foot.
And in continued support of youth entrepreneurship, Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre announced plans to double the grant funding available through the Youth Economy Agency, strengthening opportunities for young innovators.
The youth economy has been a very successful venture, and if I can say it for the young people, there are scores of young people, over 1,000, who have benefited from the youth economy.
Recognized by the CARICOM region as a model for youth empowerment, the Youth Economy Agency continues to transform lives across St. Lucia, providing a special economic space for young people to turn hobbies into entrepreneurship and skills into businesses. Now, in response to the overwhelming demand and measurable success of the program, Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre, who is also the Minister for the Youth Economy Agency, has announced that grant funding to the youth economy will double, expanding access and opportunity for young entrepreneurs across the country.
So what the government will do in this next term is we're going to double the money available to the youth economy for grants. We're going to double it. And then also there's a loan component which has been funded by the Caribbean Development Bank, and it's been administered by St. Lucia Development Bank.
The youth economy is helping young people participate more fully in the formal economy, strengthening local enterprise and expanding opportunities across sectors such as agriculture, fashion, creative arts, manufacturing, and digital media.
So far, to date, we have processed about 1,555 grants. And in terms of training, we have trained over 880 persons and mentored about 126 persons. So to date, the value in terms of the direct investment in just access to finance and training is over $9 million EC.
The month also saw a major boost for the creative sector with the official opening of the Choiseul Arts and Crafts Center, showcasing the talents of local artisans and preserving cultural heritage for future generations.
Speaking at the official launch of the newly upgraded Choiseul Arts and Crafts Center, the minister emphasized that community-driven tourism will be a cornerstone of sustainable development on the island.
A lot of thinking went into how can this place be established to ensure we give it a better chance of survival. And of course, when we launched the Community Tourism Agency, we started discussing about different experiences that can be created all over St. Lucia. And I must take this opportunity to thank the Permanent Secretary and the team at the CTA and at the Ministry of Tourism for some of the ideas that we've come up with in ensuring that we can enhance the touristic experiences in St. Lucia.
The significantly enhanced Choiseul Arts and Crafts Center represents an investment of approximately $800,000. The facility now features artisan studios, a meeting room, a training room, and exhibition area, bar area, and administrative offices. It is also equipped with brand new appliances and equipment to support small business development, artisan training, and cultural showcases.
November focused on strengthening national security, expanding support for small businesses, and advancing critical justice sector reforms. A key highlight was the progress of the MSME loan grant facility, which continued to empower micro, small, and medium enterprises with access to financing, helping entrepreneurs grow their businesses and to stimulate local economic activity. The government of St. Lucia has expanded support for small and medium enterprises through their MSME loan grant facility. The initiative targets food security, with individual businesses able to access up to $50,000 to boost production. Minister for Commerce, Honorable Emma Hippolyte, stressed the importance of strengthening local food sectors, noting that St. Lucia cannot rely solely on imports.
We have bakers and cooperatives, and I'm seeing there that we have an allocation of $1.48 million for this phase. The baking sector, we are targeting 13 bakeries, and we expect them to benefit something like $540,000, 50% of that in grants and 50% in loan funding. That's it. So the government is giving technically those persons who qualify, those bakeries who qualify, you're having grants of $270,000. And you will have loans of $270,000 at 3% interest.
Under the program, small businesses will receive a 70% grant, while medium-sized businesses will receive 50%. A major milestone for the South was the successful handover of the St. Jude Hospital.
Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre's people-focused policies were evident during the official handover ceremony of St. Jude Hospital in View Fort. The November 16th handover follows the completion of construction of the facility, confirming that contractual obligations were met by the builder. Prime Minister Pierre stressed the government's commitment to serving the nation, protecting people, and saving lives.
This new St. Jude Hospital is not just a building. It's a promise fulfilled. It's a modern, safe, and equipped to serve the needs of a growing nation. It doubles the capacity of the old facility, includes new surgical theaters, and improved pediatric care, and provides the kind of infrastructure that tells every patient who walks through its doors, you matter. But beyond the bricks and technology, what stands before us is a symbol of what happens when government puts people first. Let this day remind us that government is at its best when it listens, when it serves, and when it keeps its word.
The handover will pave the way for the commissioning of St. Jude Hospital. Commissioning ensures that procedures, equipment, and systems are in place for the treatment of patients.
Meanwhile, the residents of Ancillary and Castries are the newest recipients of a fully operational fire station. Commissioned on November 25, 2025, the Chief Fire Officer, Ditney Downs, states that the gap of much-needed emergency services will now be filled for the area of Ancillary Castries. Fully endorsed by the Prime Minister, Honorable Philip J. Pierre, the Minister for Home Affairs, Honorable Jeremiah Norbert, and the Parliamentary Representative for Ancillary Castries, Honorable Wayne Girard, the fire station proudly boasts a fully equipped domestic fire appliance and an ambulance.
Today, right here on this ground, on this compound, you could see with your own eyes a fully operational fire truck, a team of trained firefighters on duty, a functional ambulance ready to respond this very minute.
Emergencies are no respecter of time, as shortly after the opening ceremony, firefighters responded to ambulance requests, which further cemented the area's need for such a service, easing the strain on Soufrière Fire Station and Fire Service Headquarters. December brought a historic close to the year as St. Lucians headed to the polls for the general election, a defining moment of national democracy. On Monday, 1st December 2025, St. Lucians cast their ballots for all 17 seats in the House of Assembly, wrapping up a closely observed general election. The ruling St. Lucia Labour Party, led by Philip J. Pierre, secured a decisive victory, not only retaining power, but expanding its mandate. Garnering roughly 55.8% of the popular vote, the SLP secured 14 of the 17 seats. In contrast, the main opposition United Workers' Party, led by Alan Chasney, was reduced to a single seat. The additional 2 seats were won by independent candidates Stevenson King for Castries North and Richard Frederick for Castries Central, respectively. The month concluded with the official swearing-in of the Prime Minister and newly elected members of Parliament, marking the beginning of a new legislative term and setting the stage for the nation's next chapter.
St. Lucia's Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre was officially sworn in for his second term on Friday, December 5th, reaffirming his commitment to national service and prioritizing the country's progress. Prime Minister Pierre went on to outline several priority areas his government will pursue once the new cabinet is sworn in.
We commit to do the following. Confront the scourge of youth unemployment by the expansion of the Youth Economy Agency. Drive a digitally led country where our citizens will be equipped to take advantage of the new opportunities of the growing digital space. Continue the transformation of our education system to create a culture of lifelong learning. Explore opportunities available in the purple and blue economies. Create the opportunities for all communities to benefit from the growth in the tourism industry. Continue our fiscal consolidation and debt curtailment policies to enable continued growth of our economy. We will embark on an impactful capital public sector investment program that includes construction of an upgraded Hiwanora International Airport Terminal, improvements to our water supply infrastructure, development and expansion of our seaports, construction of bus terminals. Government's investment in citizen security continues with the construction of a police headquarters building and more needed equipment for the police.
Prime Minister Pierre has slightly augmented his portfolio for this term and will serve as the Minister for Finance, National Security, Justice, Constituency Development, and People Empowerment.
I, Ernest Hilaire, do swear.
The remaining cabinet members were sworn in on Friday, December 12, 2025, officially assuming responsibility for their respective ministerial portfolios. Honorable Danny Butcher was appointed Minister in the Ministry of Education, with responsibility for early childhood, continuing and special education, and digital transformation, while Honorable Dr. Chandali Harrison was named Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister. Honorable Emma Hippolyte assumed duties as the Minister for Equity, Labour, Gender Affairs, Social Justice, and Consumer Welfare. Honorable Dr. Ernest Hilaire was sworn in as Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Tourism, Commerce, Investment, Creative Industries, Culture and Heritage, with Honorable John Paul Estefan serving as Minister in the same ministry. Honorable Jeremiah Norbert was appointed Minister for Home Affairs, Crime Prevention, Conflict Resolution, and Persons with Disabilities. And Honorable Kifson Charles took responsibility for Physical Development and Public Utilities. Honorable Kenton Casimir was appointed Minister for Education, Youth Development, Sports and Digital Transformation, while Honorable Lisa Jawair assumed the portfolio of Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security and Climate Change. The health sector was placed once again under the leadership of Honorable Moses Jean-Baptiste as Minister for Health, Wellness and Nutrition. Honorable Richard Frederick was named Minister for Housing, Local Government and Urban Renewal. Honorable Sean Edward assumed responsibility for Infrastructure, Port Services and Energy, and Honorable Stevenson King was appointed Senior Minister and Minister for Public Service, Transport, Information and Utilities Regulation. Honorable Wayne Girard was sworn in as Minister for Economic Development and the Youth Economy, while Honorable Alva Baptiste took on the portfolio of External Affairs, International Trade, Civil Aviation and Diaspora Affairs. Honorable Alfred Prosper was sworn in as Deputy Speaker of the House of Parliament on Tuesday, 16th December 2025.
This is where we come to the end of the Year in Review 2025. Thank you for staying with us. From all of us here at GIS, here is to a very happy new year. I am Kishma Seria.
Take